You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Network Access Control, or NAC, is the practice of verifying the security posture of a device before allowing it onto a network. Rather than assuming any connected device is trustworthy, NAC enforces policies that determine whether access should be granted, restricted, or denied. These policies assess both the identity of the user and the health of the device. By enforcing admission rules, NAC prevents unpatched, compromised, or unauthorized devices from gaining unrestricted access. Hardened organizations treat NAC as a gatekeeper, ensuring that only compliant systems can participate in the network and reducing the risk of rogue devices introducing vulnerabilities. Endpoint protection has complementary goals that extend beyond access control. Its purpose is to prevent compromise in the first place, detect suspicious or malicious activity when prevention fails, and enable containment to stop threats from spreading. Modern endpoint protection combines signature-based antivirus with behavioral analysis, exploit mitigations, and integration with other security layers. Hardened organizations deploy endpoint protection broadly, recognizing that laptops, servers, and mobile devices are primary entry points for attackers. Together with NAC, endpoint protection ensures that threats are addressed both before and after network entry. Posture checks are the heart of NAC enforcement. These checks verify that devices meet minimum security baselines before they connect. Examples include confirming that operating systems are patched to current levels, endpoint detection and response agents are installed and active, disks are encrypted to protect data at rest, and configurations align with enterprise hardening standards. Hardened organizations calibrate posture checks carefully, balancing strict enforcement with practical business needs. By doing so, they ensure that weak or unmanaged devices are identified quickly and routed to remediation rather than silently connecting. Enforcement actions follow when posture checks fail. Non-compliant devices may be redirected into restricted VLANs or quarantine networks where they cannot access sensitive resources. Access may be limited to remediation portals or patch servers, guiding users through corrective steps. In more serious cases, devices may be denied connectivity altogether until compliance is restored. Hardened organizations implement graduated enforcement actions, ensuring that remediation is possible without unnecessarily locking out legitimate users or disrupting business operations. Identity-based controls extend NAC beyond device posture by linking users to policy decisions. Instead of granting access purely by device, NAC can consider who is logged in and their associated role. For example, a contractor may be permitted limited access only to project resources, while a full-time employee on the same laptop may receive broader privileges. This approach combines device and user context, ensuring that security follows both the asset and the identity. Hardened organizations integrate NAC with identity providers to enforce consistent, role-aware policies. Bring Your Own Device, or BYOD, complicates NAC enforcement. Corporate-owned devices can be configured to meet strict baselines, but BYOD devices often lack enterprise management. NAC strategies for BYOD usually involve more limited access, such as segmenting users into guest networks or applying stricter posture checks before granting broader access. Hardened organizations balance user convenience with security, often creating differentiated enforcement models that protect enterprise resources without fully excluding personal devices from connectivity. Mobile Device Management (MDM) and Enterprise Mobility Management (EMM) systems integrate directly with NAC to improve posture telemetry. These platforms provide visibility into device health, including patch status, security configuration, and encryption. They also enable remote remediation, such as pushing patches or enforcing compliance policies on mobile endpoints. Hardened organizations use NAC in tandem with MDM/EMM to ensure that mobile devices adhere to the same standards as desktops and servers, closing gaps in visibility and enforcement. Risk-based access policies extend NAC capabilities by factoring in real-time context. Conditional access rules may allow a device if it meets all baselines but restrict it if it connects from an unusual location during abnormal hours or after repeated failed login attempts. This adaptive approach ensures that access is not just binary but responsive to emerging risks. Hardened organizations implement conditional policies to raise scrutiny dynamically, ensuring suspicious sessions face stronger controls even when devices appear compliant. Ephemeral access patterns support scenarios where elevated rights are necessary but should not persist. Just-in-time provisioning grants temporary access for administrative tasks or specific projects, revoking privileges immediately afterward. This reduces standing privileges, ensuring that attackers cannot exploit long-lived credentials or roles. Hardened organizations combine NAC with identity governance to deliver ephemeral access, aligning device health with temporary permissions for a least privilege environment. Logging and auditing of NAC decisions are essential for accountability and investigations. Every access attempt, whether granted, restricted, or denied, must be recorded with details about the device posture, user identity, and policy applied. These records provide evidence for compliance audits and forensic investigations. Hardened organizations integrate NAC logs into CEM systems, enabling correlation with other signals and improving visibility into how network access ties into broader incidents. Fallback strategies must balance security and availability. A fail-open model prioritizes uptime, allowing devices to connect even when NAC services are unavailable, but risks introducing insecure endpoints. A fail-closed model prioritizes security by blocking access if checks cannot be performed, but may disrupt business if systems fail. Hardened organizations make deliberate trade-offs, often using tiered fallback approaches where critical systems fail open under strict monitoring, while sensitive environments fail closed. This careful planning ensures resilience without leaving security blind spots. A practical starting point for NAC demonstrates how organizations can begin without overcomplication. Administrators can configure posture checks to ensure devices have active EDR agents installed and disk encryption enabled. Non-compliant devices can be redirected into a remediation VLAN, where automated instructions guide users to correct deficiencies. This ensures essential controls are in place while giving users a clear path to compliance. Hardened organizations scale from this foundation, gradually adding posture checks and refining enforcement as NAC maturity grows. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthored.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Endpoint Detection and Response, or EDR, extends traditional endpoint protection by providing continuous visibility into processes, persistence mechanisms, and behavioral signals in memory. It can identify suspicious parent-child process chains, detect registry keys that indicate persistence, and flag unusual memory injections or exploits. These capabilities allow security teams not just to stop known malware, but also to catch sophisticated adversary techniques. Hardened organizations deploy EDR across their fleets, using it as both an early warning system and a forensic tool, ensuring that endpoint activity is transparent and accountable in real time. Coordinated response across multiple tools amplifies containment. NAC can immediately isolate a device from the broader network once a threat is detected. EDR can remediate the malicious process or artifact directly on the endpoint. CEM systems capture logs for correlation and investigation. SOAR platforms execute playbooks that automate these steps in sequence. Hardened organizations design response workflows so these systems work together seamlessly, reducing dwell time and ensuring incidents are contained quickly and consistently. Rolling out endpoint protection policies requires care to avoid business disruption. Pilot groups allow organizations to test policies in controlled environments, validating effectiveness before wider deployment. Phased rollout ensures that new restrictions or detection rules are introduced gradually, giving administrators the chance to tune configurations based on real-world feedback. Hardened organizations prioritize transparency with users, communicating policy changes clearly so disruptions are minimized. This measured approach ensures protection strengthens steadily without undermining trust or productivity. Telemetry enrichment strengthens the value of endpoint alerts. Mapping events to asset inventories reveals whether the affected device is critical to business operations. Linking alerts to user identity highlights whether a privileged administrator or a standard employee account is involved. Associating context like business unit or location helps prioritize investigations. Hardened organizations design telemetry pipelines to enrich endpoint data automatically, ensuring analysts receive not just technical signals, but actionable intelligence tied directly to organizational risk. Automated containment actions help endpoints respond quickly to threats, but must include safeguards for false positives. EDR may quarantine suspicious files, terminate malicious processes, or block network connections automatically. NAC can restrict device access or shift it into quarantine VLANs. To prevent unnecessary disruption, safe rollback options must exist, allowing administrators to reverse containment if activity is later deemed benign. Hardened organizations configure containment with precision, balancing the need for speed against the importance of stability and accuracy. Ongoing posture validation ensures devices remain compliant over time, not just at initial access. Automated checks confirm patch levels, configuration settings, and agent health continuously. When non-compliance is detected, automated remediation such as patch deployment or configuration pushes restore compliance without manual intervention. Hardened organizations treat posture validation as a living process, ensuring devices do not drift away from security baselines as updates and daily operations evolve. Legacy and unmanaged devices pose unique challenges. Some cannot support modern endpoint agents or NAC posture checks. Instead of granting them unrestricted access, hardened organizations place them into limited network segments, restricting communication to only the services they require. Compensating monitoring, such as increased logging or traffic inspection, provides visibility. This approach reduces risk while still allowing business-critical legacy systems to operate until they can be replaced. Metrics provide visibility into NAC and endpoint protection health. Compliance percentage indicates how many devices meet posture standards. Mean time to remediate measures how quickly non-compliant endpoints return to health. Containment success rate tracks how often incidents are stopped before spreading. Hardened organizations monitor these metrics consistently, using them to evaluate performance, justify investments, and identify gaps in policy or execution. Metrics transform NAC and endpoint protection from abstract controls into measurable, accountable safeguards. Training support staff ensures that quarantine workflows and remediation pathways run smoothly. Help desk and network operations teams must know how to assist users whose devices are quarantined, guiding them through remediation or escalating to security teams when necessary. Hardened organizations include these workflows in staff training and documentation, reducing user frustration and ensuring remediation is efficient. Prepared support teams help translate technical controls into practical, user-facing processes that maintain productivity while resolving security issues. Regular testing validates both technology and process. Simulated device non-compliance scenarios ensure NAC properly quarantines endpoints and that remediation playbooks function as expected. Testing also provides assurance that false positives can be handled gracefully and that recovery processes restore devices quickly. Hardened organizations schedule these exercises as part of their operational cadence, using lessons learned to refine both detection and response. Ultimately, combining NAC with endpoint protection and clear remediation pathways significantly reduces the risk of lateral movement and limits the blast radius of compromises. NAC prevents unhealthy devices from entering sensitive networks, while endpoint protection monitors and contains those that slip through. Together with automated remediation and coordinated workflows, these layers transform environments into hostile territory for attackers. Hardened organizations recognize that network and endpoint controls are most effective when integrated, providing both visibility and enforcement across the full device lifecycle. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.